Hello everyone, I'm excited to talk to you about my first 5-star read of 2023. So the first 5-star review of this year for me is Himawari House by Harmony Becker. So this is a graphic novel. I went on a graphic novel reading binge at the beginning of this year because the library I have now has quite the collection, and I have to say this is one of the best graphic novels I've ever read, and a book that really benefited from being in a graphic novel format. There's a lot of graphic novels I read where I'm like, that's good, but like they would often leave me like itching for more. Like it didn't go deep enough because due to the nature of like their genre with words and pictures, you just couldn't get as far, and like even though it would be a chunker, so I felt like I was skimming the surface of the story sometimes with the graphic novels I read. But this one was perfect. I felt like it encaptured so much, and not in an like overwhelming way, but just in like a full older coming of age story, slice of life, figuring out where you belong. Like it captured all of the meat of that story. I loved it. I loved the drawing style, but I also loved the fact that you got to see the difference in languages, right? So this is, for those who don't know, about a Japanese American young lady who returns to Tokyo. So she was born and spent part of her childhood in Japan, and then her family moved to America. And so a part of her has always longed to go back to Japan to, in some ways, like reconnect with her younger self and childhood and the things that she grew to love and then had to leave behind. But then also struggling with the fact that she's now also very much part American. She's also spent more of her life in America, so she doesn't quite fit into Japan. Like she doesn't have fluent Japanese. She has some like cultural perspective differences that sometimes cause a bit of friction in her relationships. And you also get to see the experiences of a young lady from Korea that's studying in Japan and a young lady from Singapore that study in Japan. And so the cool thing is that you get to see which language is being spoken, and in that language's symbols, you know, if they're speaking Japanese, and you can see in, I guess it wouldn't be real time, but you can see exactly how much the main character understands and which words are unknown to the both of us, which words remain with like the Japanese symbols and kanji because the main character doesn't know what that person is saying with that word, as well as like how detailed character work and language work is done here, because a lot of Americans have this misunderstanding that all Asian languages and cultures are roughly the same. You can just kind of glob them all together, and that's so not the case. Like sentence grammar and notions of different things are completely different. And so it's fascinating to see how the lady from Singapore speaks English versus the lady from Korea and the boy from Japan. And, you know, they all have these slight quirks to their English speaking that perfectly reflects the language and culture that they originate from, as well as the kind of communication issues that arise from all these people from different languages and cultures trying to interact together, and a lot of them are not speaking their native tongue. So it's just such a well thought out book, and it has so much heart to it. Like I really wish it continued longer. I would totally read a sequel. I was blown away with how much they were able to do, and they just wouldn't be able to do the same thing if they didn't have the pictures, right? If they didn't have the ability to show the kanji along with the Hangul Korean language right next to the English. Like, and to also represent the differences in like how you think and how you speak and how you understand different things. And the journey these women go on is so emotional, but not in it is in a well-rounded, life-giving way, not a draining way. I didn't leave this depressed, but you do go through the ride in the journey with these women. It was so touching and emotional. If you've ever traveled, if you've ever lived abroad, studied abroad, I think you could really connect and resonate with what is happening with these characters and with this journey, and laugh and cry at the misunderstandings of trying to understand a foreign language and order in a foreign language, or get closer to somebody when you don't speak the same language fluently. And it's just so lovely. It was a joy to read, and I would highly recommend it to all you guys out there. Yeah, what more is there to say? Go get the book. I would love to know if any of you have read it and what you thought down below. If you haven't read it, do you think you will? Is this up your alley? Don't know what I'm doing with my hands again. Should not have drank kombucha before doing these videos. Mistakes were made. So that's enough from me. I've talked way too much. Have a great day. Have a great life. See you next time, maybe.